Hi, this is Dan here. I hope you're doing well today. Now, this lesson is a follow-up to one I did last week, which was just going through the major scale notes, going up the arpeggio that's formed on that, and then down the modes. I'll just recap it now, but if you want to go through that more, just check out the video. I'll put a link here. But so we're going up a seventh arpeggio, and then just playing the mode, which is just the scale. And this is C major, so it's just C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. Then you go D minor 7. That's Dorian. Then E minor 7. Phrygian. As I said, I'm going through this quickly because there's another video that goes through all of this. F major 7, then Lydian next. G dominant 7, G Mixolydian. A minor 7, A Aeolian. B minor 7, flat 5, B Locrian. And that's just the same as the first one all over again. So I do recommend that you watch that lesson if you haven't already, but you can do loads and loads of things with this, and that's what this whole lesson is about. I've put some timestamps below if you want to just jump around in the video, but this might be another one of those ones alongside the last one that you watch again, because even though the concept's fairly simple, you know, we've got an arpeggio and some notes that we call the scale or mode that work over each of these. There's just so much you can do. So let's just start off. The 2 chord, the 3 and the 6 chord, they're all minor. I like that because they're all the same in terms of, that's the arpeggio, the minor 7 arpeggio. So on D, 5th fret, the A string, do the same. Pattern is the 7th fret and the 12th fret, which is an A minor 7. You can put that on the 5th fret of the E string as well. So you got, okay. Now the 2 chord, that's your Dorian mode over that. That's your Phrygian mode over the 3 chord, and then over that 6 chord, doesn't matter where I play it. You've got that Aeolian or natural minor. Don't worry too much about the names, it's really all about the notes, okay? These are all C major notes. So you could just know all your patterns of C major, and this will get you by. The relative minor, I don't know if you know this is a very important thing to know. The relative minor of a major key is whatever note starts on the 6th of the scale. That's that A. So in this case, A natural minor is related to C major. So that you can think about it in those terms as well. All these notes work. And I was just going, I was actually making up all of that intro. This is the kind of thing I'd like you to be able to do. With this information, a little bit of technical sort of know-how, you'll be able to do this. So I was just going, so you got the root. This is on the 5th fret of the A string. Octave, that's just 2 across, 2 down. A lot of this is about technique and groove and turning these notes into something good. This is creativity. You know, this is very much part of this. So after the octave, you've got a little ghost note. And this is just what I'm doing. You can do whatever you like with this. Then a hammer on from the flat 7, that's fret 5, to the octave fret 7. And that's just the first 3 notes of the scale, which is D, E, F. Then I'm going to E minor 7, doing the same thing until I get to the E, and now there it's E, F, G. These are the notes that lie under your fingers here. and it's a little bit different to that pattern. Same thing here. This is A, B, C. So these two, the 2 and the 6 chords, they have the same, exact same pattern, but it doesn't have the same pattern on this E, on this 3 chord. So you can hear that this sounds like a bass line. So you can make up bass lines using this idea, but you can also hear a bass line that you really, really like, and you'll hear this kind of thing at play. Let's do another example. Let's do a 2-5-1 chord progression. Again, something you probably have heard of. The 2 is the D. Get that D Dorian, 5. G7, I can play it here. And you got the C major 7. I'm playing the notes, the scale or the mode. The whole point of this exercise, though, is you have both the chord tones and the scale tones, okay? Now, which one is more important? I hear this a lot, people saying, you know, got to make bass lines from chord tones or whatever, but I mean, they're just options. Think about it. These are just options. You've got your chord tones. Those are the chord tones, the 1, 3, 5, 7. Play them together, you get a chord. Or you have your scale tones. And to be honest, if you analyze bass lines, both of these things are going on, okay? So 2-5-1, one way to practice that. Just play like 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, like 2 bars of that, then G7. Just going up the scale and then C. Do 2 bars of that to go down. It sounds very scale-like, very exercise-like. So add some rhythm into it, you know, swing. That kind of thing. That time, I just did 1 bar. I want to approach this G. So I'm approaching it from above. There's the G. Go down the scale. Yeah, in this particular instance, it's this G mix Lydian thing. Now, you'll get to a point, you know, when I teach, I have to explain stuff, right? And it sounds like I'm being very, very analytical, but when you play, after knowing this a little bit, you don't think at all. You just play. So you learn these patterns, you learn what works, and it'll fall under your fingers given enough practice. Talking about practice, just do it a little bit every day. 5, 10 minutes, even if you do that every day, is much better than just 1 hour every Sunday, for example. So consistency is key. I promise you, if this seems a bit, you know, esoteric and a bit weird, you will get it with practice. So all we're doing here is just taking different chord progressions and just making up some different phrases and applying different styles to it. So let's do another here. Let's do 3 to 4. That's the E minor 7 to the F major 7. Now, I just mentioned 7th chords there, but you can just play, listen, what's the simplest thing we could do here? Root notes, okay? So let's just do E to F. I'm going back that fast. Octaves. But the whole point of knowing the underlying scale chord relationship is that you can flesh things out a little bit. So on the F there, you need to know this is the 4 chord, this is that Lydian, this is... Anytime you have a minor chord and a major chord that are separated by this distance of half a step, your brain should be thinking, that's this situation here, 3 to 4. It doesn't happen anywhere else, okay? That's a nice thing to do. I'm just doing root 5, 7, octave. And then on the F, it's almost the same, but it's a major 7th, not a minor 7th. So you're learning theory as you're doing this. You're learning shapes that you're coming across all the time as a bass player. There aren't that many in this sequence, as I mentioned in last week's lesson. There are only 4. You've got the major 7th that happens on the 1 and the 4. You've got the minor 7th that happens on the 2, 3, and 6. You've got the dominant 7th that only happens on the 5, and the minor 7 flat 5 or half diminished, same thing, that happens only on the 7. So you just learn that, and you can just mix these things up. Let's do another chord progression. Let's this time take the 5, the 4, and the 1. So that would be G, F, C. And you know, you've probably heard something that sounds like this before. Let's just do roots. Okay, you've probably heard something that sounds a bit similar to that. Now, they're all major, a little bit like the first example I gave you where we did the 2, 3, 6, and they're all minor. These ones are all major, so... That was just a major third, okay? So that's a G to a B, if I'm on the G on the 10th fret of the A string. Learn things as patterns. A major third, you know, that's the third note of a scale. That gives you a little pattern, which you can move around, okay? And if you're on a root, let's say you're on the 10th fret, the pattern is you just go down 1 fret that way, and down 1 string that way, and that's a major third. You can also play it on the same string, okay, but... If you put in a 5th, you get what's called a triad. That was just root 5 all the time. See how you're fleshing things out a little bit. You know that over all those chords, the 1, the 4, the 5, although I'm going in reverse direction, I'm going 5, 4, 1, they're all the same patterns actually. And then this is the whole point, I think, of learning that exercise and just doing it for the rest of your life. That video was titled The Exercise, Best Exercise. I've been using it 30 years, and it is true, I have. I make up bass lines using this idea all the time. So the 5 is that mixer Lydian, the 4 is the Lydian, and the 1 is the Ionian. So... See all I did there? And that might be a little, I don't know, like a sort of Rush, Geddy Lee type thing where he's playing more. He's playing more of the notes under the fingers. And that's what this is about. You have the option there. You don't have to play all those notes just because they're there. But it's nice to know that you can if you want. What happens the more that you do this is that you will fall back on patterns that you really, really like. So for example, if I go 1 to 4, that's your C to your F. Well, those are both major 7th chords, so you know that those options are there available to you. So that was the root, the 5, the major 7th, which is right next door, to the octave, and it works exactly the same on both. It doesn't matter where I start the F or the pattern, that works, okay? So now there, root 5, so this is an F on the 8th fret of the A string. The 5th is the C on the 10th fret of the D string. And the F octave there, right? I know that just as F to G on the A string is that distance there, up the octave, that's a 9th, okay? So root 5, 9. I do that a lot. Root 5, a little hammer on from an octave to a 9th. This is just part of my vocabulary on the bass. It works, and you can extend that a bit more. That's your 9. So that's 1, 2, 3. That's exactly the same up the octave, look. That's going 9 to the 10. There I'm just playing the root 5 and then doing a big shift, 9, 10. And again, I know they work. It would also work on the 5. That sounds really nice, really melodic. And it's that thing of just, I mean, maybe you might like to record your practice, maybe you want to write down patterns that you like and find, but just the more you play, the more it just absorbs into your way of doing things. One other thing I touched on in the lesson last time was to isolate just one of these 7 things in the exercise. You know, you've got your arpeggio, you've got your mode. Just isolate one of them and just make up bass lines around that. And you can do this on anything. I really like the 2. The 2 is funk. Dorian, that's the second mode, is funk. I'm going to do it up here. So there's your Dorian mode. And there's your arpeggio, your 7th arpeggio. Now, if you add in percussive ghost notes, hammer-ons, short notes, it's going to sound quite funky, okay? 16ths as well, so... So far I've done nothing apart from just the chord tones and minor pentatonic. Let's add in some of the mode stuff. So, to recap, those are the notes. That's D Dorian. They're all there. This is from C major, so it's just D, E, F, G, A, B, C, carry on, okay? So I know where my chord tones are, and I know where my scale notes are. And I'm adding in, I'm really breaking this down for you here, because what am I doing here? I'm sticking to a groove, always tap your foot. I'm thinking funk, so I'm playing 16th notes. It goes without saying that if you want to do this, to sort of build different styles, you do have to listen to music and you do have to sort of figure out bass lines in order to work out what works. Always do that. Now, this is a follow-up to that first video. If you want to follow up to the follow-up, just let me know. If there's anything in the video you want me to expand upon, then I will do so. Here's another thing that I really like doing. I'll go back to that 2, 3, 6 that we did at the beginning of the lesson. We'll come full circle and we'll finish with this. I've written out this exercise, which you can download below, and it goes like this. Okay, so we've got, flat 7 octave, and then we come down this little pattern here, which is basically your 5, 4, 3. I'm not thinking about this when playing it, but then down to the root. And because the 2, the 3, and the 4 are all minor, all of these are chord tones apart from that 4th note, but they all fit in here. That's why I like it. It's doing the same thing over these different places. It sounds good. It's great for practice. It sounds like a bass line. It's working on creativity. And in this case, I'll show you. You've got a hammer on. I'm going fingers 1 to 3. This is fret 5 to 7. You can follow the tab when you download this. You can do this in a number of different ways, so if you find a better way, do it. But I'm going hammer on, and then I'm going 2nd finger from the 7th, little slide from the 7th to the 5th fret. Then my 1st finger is just ready to play that F on the 3rd fret. And then I've got my 3rd finger on that root again. And then I'm shifting up, doing the same thing 2 frets higher, and then I'm shifting to the 12th fret. Same thing. You can also do it down there where there's an A, okay? Set a drum beat. I was doing mine, I think 118 beats per minute, but whatever you can do. And you can even take some notes and rhythms away and change. You can change the rhythms up, okay? But all I was doing was just taking notes that fit. Exactly the same thing, except at the end. D, E, F, E, F, G, A, B, C, all notes from this scale. Don't forget, you have the timestamps, you have the ability to rewatch this with that previous lesson. I write books, I do courses, I do things that take ideas like this. You can never teach everything that you want to teach in a lesson that's this length. You can't do it. And on YouTube, things tend to need to be sort of a certain length, and if you go too long, it's just too long a video. So I probably will do a whole book, a whole course on just this, because you can tell that I've got lots of ideas here for you, and hopefully you've got lots of ideas as well, and perhaps some questions as well. So answer the questions below if you do want me to create like a course on this, just perhaps with loads and loads more examples, going into different styles, breaking it down as I did, do let me know, because I can do that. These days I can do it quite quickly as well. So if that's something you want, let me know. Also, if you've got video ideas, let me know. You know, this channel is very much driven by you, so I do want to hear from you. Thanks very much for watching. Do subscribe to the channel if you got anything from that, and I wish you a good day. See you next time.